Maybe you should deal with that. Maybe we should get Terry with more adults and children.
I'm gonna have to wait for my second life for that one.
Hey,
Hey,
Joe Madden's here.
that's what I've heard. I don't know what happened to the Angels this year. They were not very good.
It's his fault.
Right.
It's always the
We are now
manager's
streaming
fault.
live on YouTube,
Okay,
but we have 3 minutes.
and we don't have Commissioner Bernstein.
No, we don't. I guess you're right.
If he doesn't show up, we won't have a quorum.
Oh boy.
Also correct.
Oh boy.
I missed you this morning, Commissioner Grossberg.
Wow, was that just this morning? Yeah.
Yep.
We'd have to play at like 5:30 in the morning for me to get to play with you.
Unfortunately, it's still dark at 5:30 now.
Right. Right.
All right, Cal's here.
Hi, Cal.
Mitch Carr.
Yes, I am. We're doing video? Yeah, there I am.
Hey,
You're that dude from All American Burger. No one knows what I'm talking about. Oh,
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
there he is. You're right. Did
All
you
right,
see the table? Did you see the table reading that was done? Julia Roberts and Brad Pitt and
No, but I would have liked to have seen that.
yeah. All right, go ahead. It's 6 o'clock, almost 6 o'clock.
All right, ready?
No, 5:58.
Yeah, 2 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's Julia Roberts. What's her name? Jennifer Aniston. Brad Pitt. Morgan Freeman narrates it. It's really funny.
What is this?
Just as
They
long
did
as,
a t- What?
yeah, as long as Phoebe Cates was in it, I'm happy.
No. Jennifer Aniston plays Phoebe Cates.
did they do the whole thing or just certain scenes?
I only saw certain scenes. I guess they did the whole movie, but I only saw certain scenes.
Oh, I thought you were saying that they showed people that were trying out for it.
No, they did a table reading for charity. That's like the latest thing they do now.
Oh,
They did that for Princess Bride, and that's the latest.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right, 6 o'clock. You ready?
yes.
All right, the regular board meeting of the Park District of Highland Park is called to order on Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020 at 6 o'clock p.m. Roxanne, I don't see you, but if you're here, can you?
Commissioner Bernstein,
Here.
Commissioner Grossberg,
Here.
Commissioner Flor Swicekoff, Vice
Absent.
President Kaplan,
Brian,
You have to say here, Brian.
Brian,
I think we lost him.
I'm
Vice
back.
President Kaplan,
I'm here.
and then President Rottenberg.
Absent.
Okay. Carrie or Cal, do you have any additions to the agenda?
No, I do not.
no,
Brian Romes, do you have any?
No.
All right, we have public comment. Mr. Romes, would you like to start reading them?
Yes, we have 27 comments. All these comments will be put into public record along with their names and addresses. I will read the comments aloud during the meeting this evening. And just for the record, these have all been sent just recently to the park board. So I will read them aloud for the public.
Brian, before you start, I just want just for the record, you did send this by email to us, and I did have an opportunity to read them. So I think it's great that they did that.
Okay, thanks,
Thanks.
Cal. Okay, so I will read them right now. Number one, I am writing to let you know how much of an impact having Park Avenue Beach open this summer has had. We began as 3 friends who paddle boarded together for the past few summers, and this year our group grew to 12 plus. We collected together at any chance we could get and came to depend on our sessions together for friendship, support, sharing of quarantining essentials, laughs, exercise, and fresh air. We marveled at how chaotic the world has become, but how peaceful and idyllic everything became and out on the water, and how lucky we are to live in a town with access to the beachfront. Friends in other towns and other states were so envious of the escape, the exercise, and the social distance this activity allowed us. Thank you for figuring out a way to make this happen this summer. And I really hope that the city, as the city, we can continue to think creatively to fund all aspects of our waterfront, but particularly the beach and boating access points in the future, as this truly is the best that the North Shore has to offer. And she included some photos. Number two, I'm a long-term HP resident and have been using the boat launch for many years. It has been a wonderful addition to our
Mr. Rome's,
Yes.
aren't you supposed to tell us who they're from?
I can. I was just saving time. They are in your, they will let the
Okay.
minutes reflect. And I've also put these in your email.
That's fine.
Okay. I'm a long-term HP resident and have been using the boat launch for many years. It has been a wonderful addition to our community and personal recreational activities for our family. We have a boat and a wave rider and use the facility often. During these unprecedented times with the pandemic, having the ability to use the boat launch and beach has been wonderful for our family. We feel the Park District made an excellent decision by keeping it open during these difficult times. The boat launch truly separates our community from the surrounding towns as a valuable Park District asset. Thank you for keeping open this past season. Number three, I'm writing tonight to send my heartfelt appreciation to the PDHP for opening up Park Avenue Beach and boat launch during this time of quarantine and COVID. This summer, I purchased my own paddleboard and rented a spot at Park Avenue. This outlet was one of the things that helped me greatly over the summer through such a challenging time. We as HP residents have the gift of Lake Michigan as our close neighbor, and I cannot thank you enough for allowing myself and others to enjoy and appreciate it this summer. Number four, as a resident and first-time user of the Park Avenue boating facility, I'm grateful that the committee voted to open the Park Avenue boat launch for power boaters and sailors. I cannot imagine my summer without access to the beach and boat launch that is just blocks from where I live. One of the most refreshing experiences has been getting to know the reoccurring boaters and sailors that have been frequenting Park Avenue year after year. My family and I were welcomed and embraced by our community. They are warm, welcoming, helpful, and a wealth of knowledge to the many newcomers that appeared this summer. We all take pride in our lakefront. The majority of neighboring communities have parks, pools, and tennis, but few have lakefront access like Highland Park. I know I'm not alone in saying how important Park Avenue is to the community. How can we help support and promote the restoration and development of Park Avenue boating facility to keep it operating for the community to enjoy? Thank you for your consideration. Number five, my name is Sue Kino, Highland Park resident. I wanted to send a note of gratitude to the Park District for opening Park Avenue launch during the COVID pandemic. It is always wonderful having such an amenity, and especially during these COVID times. Number six, thank you for your agility in uncertain times, opening up Park Avenue for us to enjoy. We understand the challenges involved and appreciate your flexibility this season. As a 15-year resident, there is not much more enjoyable than our beautiful lakefront and the plethora of activities it provides us all. Number seven, I'm reaching out to let you know my family and I have never appreciated living in Highland Park as much as we did this summer. Our ability to easily enjoy boating, jet skiing, paddling, and sailing this season were not only throughout this unusual summer, but ended up making it one of our families, one that our family will remember as one of the best family summers. While local pools were closed and camps and vacations canceled, having Park Avenue open provided the setting to be safely on vacation in the waters in 10 minutes. Thank you so much for allowing this to be possible by opening Park Avenue and ensuring the boat launch was functional. The Park District literally saved summer, and we are forever grateful to live not only in this beautiful lakefront community, but also to have a Park District that values and supports it. Number eight, my name is Tracy Jacobson. I am an avid paddler, boarder that moved to Highland Park 4 years ago from the East Coast. My husband grew up here. When we decided to move back to the area he grew up in, my sticking point was that I had to be close to the beach and have access to the beach. I joined the North Shore Yacht Club immediately, and the lake became my second home in the summers. When COVID hit, I was worried about my outlet would not be there for me, which is the lake. When you all announced that you would open Park Avenue for us boaters, it honestly changed everything for me and my family during the pandemic. We call it lake therapy. It truly has gotten me through this difficult time. I appreciate all your hard work making this happen. Park Avenue is and always will be my happy place. Number 9, thank you so much for managing all the complexity of this summer with COVID and keeping Rosewood and Park Avenue Beach open, as well as others along our North Shore. Those two in particular are such gifts you have given the community in really such a miserable time in our world. The ability to safely enjoy the beach, share with family, and have the additional unique recreation spaces and access to Lake Michigan of Park Avenue is something I cannot express enough gratitude for. You kept many sane with keeping Park Avenue open. Being on the water is an experience like no other and only was possible with the Park District supporting it. Thank you for providing a bright spot all summer long. Thanks actually continue in the fall. Number 10, thank you for your commitment to getting Park Avenue Beach and boating facility ready for the summer season. As boaters, North Shore Yacht Club members, and citizens of Highland Park, we appreciate our beautiful lakefront and enjoy the many amenities it provides. This is why it is so important to keep up with all of the restorations needed at Park Avenue, including repairing and replacing the barge. Thankfully, we were able to manage through another season, thanks to the Park District of Highland Park. However, time is of the essence and we must get to work on the repairs if our community is going to enjoy boating, kayaking, paddleboarding, sailing, and other activities in the future. There were record number of people enjoying the lakefront this season, and we want to continue this trend. On a side note, while we were boating up and down the shores of Lake Michigan this summer, we noticed many restoration projects in progress throughout different communities, including bringing in massive boulders and building break walls in order to protect bluffs and boating ramps. Number 11, I wanted to thank for allowing the Park Avenue Beach to be open during the 2020 COVID pandemic. Park Avenue Beach is my go-to happy place in the summer. During this uncertain time, when many freedoms are out of reach, it was so nice to be out in our beautiful lake. Truly a gem for our city. Thanks again for allowing myself and friends to have a wonderful summer. Number 12, I want to take a minute to thank you for opening Park Avenue Beach during COVID-19. Having the ability to launch my PWC locally was amazing. I think it saved my life, and I cannot tell you how depressed I was this spring. I had traveled to Waukegan to launch a few times. It was a huge inconvenience and exhausting because we drove our personal watercrafts back to Highland Park each and every time and spent time with family and friends. Having Park Avenue open was amazing. My family made new friends, enjoyed nature, and got a great deal of exercise, not to mention the vitamin D that helped us all feel better. Having the ability to access and use Park Avenue Beach also increased our appreciation of Highland Park Park Districts and its city amenities. Wow, wow, wow. I'm so proud to have such a great park district and community in Highland Park. I know how difficult it was to make the decision to open, and I want you all to know that your efforts are greatly appreciated. Seriously, best park district on the North Shore. If you need community volunteers, please let me know. I will do whatever I can to help. Number 13, I'm writing to laud the Park District for opening the Park Avenue boating facility this summer. This was an oasis during these pandemic times. I was able to utilize the Park Avenue Beach boating facility 2 to 3 times a week, and each time it was an escape from the craziness of today's world. I will be sad when the season is over. Having a lakefront boating facility is a special treasure for our community and part of the reason we purchased a home in Highland Park over neighboring Deerfield or Northbrook. Again, thank you for making it possible to have a boating season during these difficult times. Number 14, reaching out to thank you and the Park District Commissioners for the support to open Park Avenue boating this year. Our family are both power boaters and members of the North Shore Yacht Club. Having access enabled us to have a normal summer that was far from normal. With kids home for the summer, it was a huge source of joy for us, our friends, and their children. Power boating, we took our kids there and friends every week, sometimes more than once a week, tubing and swimming. This was between 6 to 10 kids, 90% were Highland Park each time. Hosted camp for my youngest daughter's friends on the water. North Shore Yacht Club, stand-up paddling. We taught our daughters how to paddle, and my wife and I went many evenings paddling on the shoreline. Sailing, I raced nearly every Sunday with North Shore Yacht Club, also went out many evenings for fun relaxation. The lakefront is a unique asset to our community and truly enhances the value of Highland Park. Please continue to invest to assure safe and open access. 15, This has been a challenging year for all of us. The boating, sailing, and kayaking at Park Avenue has been a welcome outlet and a great way to socially distance as well. 16, I'm reaching out to thank the Park District of Highland Park for their efforts in allowing the North Shore Yacht Club and the boating community to access Park Avenue Beach this past COVID season. It made a huge difference for me mentally, physically, and emotionally this past summer. The joy and laughter experienced this summer with my paddleboard was amazing. I also enjoyed watching others paddleboarding, kayaking, jet skiing, boating, and sailing. People enjoyed family time or alone time on the beach. This was the medicine I needed to get through these challenging times. Time in nature and enjoying the outdoors during the pandemic provided to me, for many people in this community, their medicine. The number of bikers, walkers, park goers, and hikers was obvious to everyone. Our beach are our greatest asset to this community, in my opinion. The time and effort put forth by the Park District is appreciated by many. 17, I just wanted to express my gratitude for opening Park Avenue Boat Launch this year during the pandemic. I bought a boat launch pass and joined the North Shore Yacht Club and have enjoyed every minute of my time paddleboarding on and just enjoying the lake. All thanks to the Highland Park Park District for making this happen. Your folks helped us your folks helped us open the gate and patrolled the area, making us feel safe and monitored. Beach access has been my family feel whole and at peace during this crazy time, and I know it was not easy to do your part. We moved to Highland Park because of the lake, and in 15 years that we have lived here, we moved from the city. We have never spent so many hours in the lake. Thank you. Number 18, my name is Dina Relman. I am a Highland Park resident. I am writing to tell you what an incredible summer I had due to being able to use Park Avenue Beach. At the beginning of summer, I bought a stand-up paddleboard and stored it at Park Avenue. I also bought a parking pass. This meant that multiple mornings a week, all summer, I could leave my house in the Ravinia neighborhood and spend 20 minutes later be standing on my stand-up paddleboard on the lake. I've been living in Highland Park for 10 years, and this was the first summer I took advantage of the lake itself. I have a deep love for Rosewood Beach already. My friends and I had many stand-up paddleboarding outings in the morning around 6 a.m. and got to see the sunrise and enjoy a quiet, social, and COVID-safe activity. It was truly incredible. I am so grateful that with everything else being canceled this summer, including Ravinia Fest, Highwood Summer Festivals, etc., that the Park District opened Park Avenue Beach. It made all the difference for me in an otherwise strange and disappointing summer. Thank you. 19, please add my comments below. Thank you to the Park Board of Commissioners for opening Park Avenue boating facility this season. Despite the many challenges, my family did have an enjoyable season. Please extend my thanks to all of your staff that made this season possible. Looking forward to 2021 and beyond. 20, I wanted to reach out and thank the Park Board and staff for making Park Avenue happen this year. I think you will all agree we had an unprecedented use of the lakefront this year. With the current issues happening, the lakefront and all associated activities were desperately needed. A lot of residents would have suffered both physically and mentally without it. I look forward to next year and hopefully more normal operations. 21, I want to take a moment to thank the Highland Park Park District for figuring out how to open the beach and boat area this season, especially with COVID concerns. It brought a lot of joy to our family and community as a whole. It was wonderful seeing how much the area was enjoyed this year and look forward to it next year. Great job. 22, I want to take a minute to send a huge thank you to you for allowing Park Avenue Beach and boating facility to open this summer. As a Highland Park resident for 15 years, my wife and I have said many times all summer how lucky we are to live in Highland Park and to have access to the lakefront and Park Avenue facility. We were down there every Saturday and Sunday and many times during the week as well. In the late spring, we purchased a Wave Runner. The entire family had an absolute blast every time we went down to Park Avenue boating facility. As bad as COVID has made things this summer with the kids' summer programs being canceled, having a personal watercraft and having access to Park Avenue for launching turned what could have been a miserable summer into a fantastic summer. So again, thank you for allowing Park Avenue facility to open this year. We can only look forward to next summer at the Park Avenue facility. 23, I want to voice support for the decision to open Park Avenue boating during COVID pandemic and enabling the activity this summer. For nearly 10 years, I have parked my motorboat at the boating facility on Park and use the boat ramp except this summer. The difficulty we had signing up in the spring due to the technology issues with the Park District website and indecisiveness by the city and Park District of if and when Park Avenue boat ramp would open compelled us to slip our boat at Waukegan Harbor this summer for the first time. The decision was not easy, but the investment in owning and using a boat is considerable, and they're given the risk that access would be denied or restricted. This wasn't my best option. Waukegan is a long way to drive to access the water, but they opened up in April and made it easy while Highland Park did not commit, which ultimately reduced the season by 50% of that of Waukegan. Boating in Highland Park, and specifically Park Avenue, is a great asset, and historically the Park District has done a great job. We have every intention of returning once the city Park District decisively opened the boating up for next season, and there are others like us that would like nothing more than to come back to boat at Park Avenue. We hope that improvements will continue to be made and that a full season to access Lake Michigan is restored next summer. 24, kudos to you for stepping up to the plate during these unprecedented times. I've enjoyed the many hours of kayaking on the lake. The patrol team has been so friendly and helpful. One young man actually got help for a seagull injured by a fishing hook. Please let me and other members of the yacht club know if there's anything we can do to help. 25, as a Highland Park resident whose nearly continuous association with the North Shore Yacht Club and use of the Park Avenue boating facility dates back to 1977, I would like to commend and thank the board for all their efforts in finding COVID-compatible ways to keep this valuable community asset open and functioning this season. Well done. 26, just a quick note of appreciation for opening the Park Avenue boat ramp during the summer. My family and I so much appreciate being able to use this valuable community resource, especially when so many other public facilities are shut down. We know that this has been a difficult period for the Park District with the challenges COVID brings. Your staff has always been available to help when information was needed. I want to make special mention of Robin Zullo. Her patience in handling security and access to the ramp has been huge for us, and especially in the light of what's going on with the current lake levels. These conditions we know made it especially difficult to maintain that facility and to keep the boat ramp open. Thank you. My family and I were able to use this period to launch our boat on a regular basis and access the wonderful asset that Lake Michigan is. 27, this is the last one. My neighbors and my own family that live near Park Avenue Beach would like to formally congratulate and thank the Park District of Highland Park and the board for their courage that they showed earlier this year to look beyond the uncertainty that was swirling around them, and the courage they showed in opening beaches, and more specifically Park Avenue Beach and boating facility. My neighbors and myself are down at Park Avenue Beach every single day, even in the winter. And if you could all have experienced smiling eyes when people greet one another from behind the masks, all just happy to be by the water on a sunny day. The leashed new dogs everyone adopted or purchased. The new canine family members all greet one another for the first time. So fun to see. So many daily, determined faces of those committed to shedding the quarantine weight by pushing themselves up the hill and using the Park Avenue Beach entrance and exit hills as a challenge as they push themselves through. The stunningly colorful sails from the sailboats racing in what can only be described as colorful choreographed dance on water. The early morning athleticism and peacefulness shown by the large, deeply committed paddleboard community, all paddling while greeting the rising sun together over the lake we are so lucky to live near. The seamlessly executed water safety instruction done by the Yacht Club volunteers, instructors brought so much water safety awareness to the community. The beautifully gliding Hawaiian outrigger canoes and the teams of canoers and kayakers with their early morning beachside socially distanced workout regimen while the rest of us are all still sleeping. The sincere care and sense of community to clean up the parking lot and beach time and time again when the storms rolled through and did damage or made a mess on the beach. The love and spirit of inclusion that the members of the North Shore Yacht Club shows on a daily basis to the inquiring citizens in the community at large by sharing the love of the water while also keeping a watchful eye on the beaches to ensure safety is always in the forefront of the beachside activities. The happy, brief chats between Park District employees and the citizens all showing each other appreciation and respect while merely talking about how beautiful a spot we have down here and how nice the weather has been. The many wave runners showing off their incredible skill in the open water while also being respectful of those launching, teaching, or learning at the South Bay. The free paddleboard lessons for kids of Highland Park done at proper distances using new invention that uses a floating rope and safety buoys. Invented right here in Highland Park at Park Avenue Beach. The sandcastles, beach glass hunting, the beach stone gathering, the first annual race, and so much more happiness. If you could have experienced all of this, you would make even more proud to serve your community in the capacity that you have chosen. All this was all possible because you looked beyond mere uncertainty in such an uncertain time and chose to act in accordance with the desires and needs of the very large beach-loving community in Highland Park. Park Avenue Beach is a mainstay of this community, and the fact that all of you pushed to get it open this year and working hard with the North Shore Yacht Club to make sure it was a good experience was an exercise in collaboration that, from my very simple perspective, should be congratulated. Keep your focus on the lakefront, as it is a special and rare resource that should be cared for with the utmost love and diligence while being used by the community to help our children learn why Highland Park is as unique as it is. I can honestly attest to the fact that many kids spent their time beaching, boating, canoeing, paddleboarding, kayaking, sailing at Park Avenue Beach this season, all now further understand why Highland Park is as unique and a special community that it is. Thank you.
Pretty cool.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for your comments.
Okay, let's go move on. The consent agenda. I have a request to remove item C from the consent agenda to discuss separately. So that being said, can I get a motion to approve items A, B, and D from the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Roxanne, please call the roll.
Commissioner Bernstein,
Aye.
Commissioner Grossberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Flores Weiskopf, Vice President Kaplan,
Aye.
President Ruttenberg.
Motion carried.
Okay, motion carries. Now let's look at item C, the 2020 Park ADA Pathway Improvement Project. Director Smith to present.
Thank you very much. So on September 15th, the Park District received 4 sealed bids for labor and materials to complete this project. This project's focused on improving ADA access pathways and features at Cloverdale Park, Devonshire Park, and Woodridge Park, including converting existing stone paths to porous pave. The low bidder for this project was Continental Construction, and the total amount of $228,579, which included the base bid for Cloverdale and Devonshire Park and the alternate of Woodridge Park. Now, the Park District has worked with Continental Construction in the past. We worked with them on the Mooney Park playground replacement in 2013. And there were issues with this project and issues with this contractor. And Continental Construction was actually removed from the job due to issues with completing the project. Now, for this current project, staff did check the references for Continental Construction, also reached out to Continental Construction directly to express our concerns based on our previous experience with this contractor. After these conversations, staff felt comfortable and planned to recommend Continental Construction to the Park Board, as stated in the memo in your board packet. However, this past Friday, staff were made aware of other agencies who had similar and additional issues with this contractor. And also agencies who rejected Continental Construction's low bid due to their performance issues. So staff reached out to all of these agencies and was able to confirm this information. The issues these agencies had included non-payment or delayed payment to subcontractors, making significant errors on the job, not providing required paperwork, and not completing the project or being removed from the job. The second lowest bidder was Emerald Site Services, and the total amount of $259,500. Staff check references for this contractor, and all were very favorable. Based on the references for both contractors and the district's past experience with Continental Construction, staff have determined that Emerald Site Services is the lowest responsible bidder and recommend approval from the Park Board of the base bid for Cloverdale and Devonshire Parks and the alternate for Woodridge Park from Emerald Site Services in the total amount of $259,500. Are there any questions?
I do have a question, just about the reporting on this. So these bids, I assume, are closed bids. I don't know. So the various groups bid, and do they learn, other than from this public meeting, whether they were the lowest, or, you know, how does that status work?
Sure. So you're correct. For this project, it was a sealed bid. So we receive it on a set date and we open it at a set day and time. It's a public bid opening. And so all contractors or anyone who chooses to attend it can, but we're currently conducting our bids via Zoom right now due to the pandemic. But at that time, we read aloud the bids, and then we will check references, and then we'll make a recommendation to the board at this point. So once we read aloud those bids, usually within a few hours, we'll post the as read bids on our website as well.
Okay, so the first group, that was the low bidder, they will learn of their fate, that despite them being the low bidder, because of questionable practices from the past, they did not win the contract. They'll know that all complete.
They will. We won't contact any bidders to let them know the final results until we have approval from the board. So we will be contacting all bidders tomorrow to let them know whether they were recommended or not, approved.
Right, but conceivably, one of the people from that company could be on this right now and learn of that recommendation now, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. I just would like to know how that process works, and now I know. Thank you.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve Emerald Site Services, Inc., the second lowest bidder and the lowest responsible bidder, for $259,500 as a contractor for the 2020 Park ADA Pathway Improvement Project? When do you guys got to do it?
Yeah, based upon staff's recommendation and investigation, I move that we approve the as recommended by staff.
Second.
Okay, is there any additional discussion on the motion? Roxanne, please call the roll.
Commissioner Bernstein,
Aye.
Commissioner Grossberg,
Yes.
Vice President Kaplan,
Yes. Motion carries. Next up is Director Peters and the Treasurer's Report.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to share my screen. All right. Okay, can everybody see updated financial forecasts due to COVID-19?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. So as we have become accustomed to looking at this report as we update it each month, you can see we are now looking at August 31st. We're going to start, as we usually do, with our projected cash flows from operations. And we can see that we always start with where we had originally budgeted our cash on hand to be at year end, which is just under $12 million. And right now, based on where we are and what we feel is going to happen the last few months of the year, we expect to come in at just under $11 million. And that really, we don't feel is too bad given the current pandemic that we're in. But also important to note is the 25% board policy for our reserve, and that we will be expecting to well exceed that amount at December 31st. Okay, we're also used to looking at this chart that plots our operations, which are our general and recreation funds. We have our solid green revenue fund. This was what we had originally budgeted last year for a revenue of $21.7 million. And the red solid line was our original budgeted expenses for the year at about $18.7 million, which would have given us a surplus in operations of about $3 million. Once the COVID hit, we came up with projections, which the green dotted line is our new projected revenues at about $15.5 million. And then we projected our expenses, which is the red dotted line, to come in at about $13.7 million, which would then give us a surplus of about $1.9 million at year end. So the difference between our original budget and our projected data gives us a reduced surplus by $1.2 million. We then went ahead and have been charting our actual revenues with the green dashed line. So you can see that our revenues at the end of August 31st have come in at just over $10 million and versus our projections of revenues at about $9.22 million. And so that gives us a surplus over our original projections of about $843,000. We then do the same with the red dashed line for expenses. That's our actual expenses, which are $8.37 million versus the red dotted projected line of $8.66 million in expenses. And so the difference here is about $286,000. So we are currently at $286,000 less in expenses than what we had originally projected. So all in all, where we are year to date of our actual figures versus what we had projected for our worst case scenario is a surplus of about $1.1 million. And as I had asked last month, I'll ask you again this month to just keep that number in mind as we go on a little bit further and look at some of our payroll data. Our next chart is the recreation fund over, and same sort of setup. We have our solid green line, which is our original budgeted revenue of $10.5 million. And the solid red line is our original budgeted expenses of about $13 million, which was going to leave us with a deficit at year end of about $2.4 million. Again, when the COVID hit and we came up with our new projections, the projected revenues are the green dotted line, which showed us at $5 million of revenue. And then our projected expenses on the red line in a worst case scenario are at about $8.8 million, leaving us with a year-end deficit of roughly $3.7 million. The difference between what we had originally budgeted versus our projections gave us a larger deficit of $1.3 million. We have then gone back and have been charting with the dashed line what our actual revenues are, which are $4.35 million at the end of August versus our projections of $3.52 million, for a difference of $832,000 to the good. And then we have our red dashed line of actual expenses, which came in at $5.74 million at the end of August. And our projected expenses, the red dotted line, came in at $5.71 million for a difference of roughly $25,000. So we are showing $25,000 more in expenses than what was projected. But that, again, we're going to discuss in a moment when we look at our payroll. Overall, we are up in the rec fund by about $800,000 of actual surplus versus what our projections would be. So now we're going to look at payroll. And originally, we had this green budgeted line showing payroll of $10 million, a budget for payroll of $10 million. After COVID, and we furloughed staff, we had hiring freezes and wage freezes. We developed the blue projection line at about $7.5 million. So our original actual versus our new projections, we cut expenses by about $2.6 million in payroll. The yellow line is actual payroll that has been coming through. If you recall, at the end of July, we were over our projections a little bit. This month, we continue to be over our projections. Our actual payroll is about 4.9 million, and our projected payroll is about 4.8 million. So we do have a difference of our actual versus projected. We are about $126,000 over. We have actual expenses versus what we had projected. However, as we just showed, we are at about a $1.1 million surplus of what we had projected versus where our actual is coming in. And really, if to reach the levels of service and programming that we have provided to the residents of Highland Park, and as we and I don't know if I want to use the word experimented, but as we went forward with creating programs and services that people were able to do during COVID and like during COVID, the more and more classes and sections we added in different activities, then of course we did need to add some payroll to help get us to that 1.1 million surplus that we're at right now. We also were asked to show the breakout of all the payrolls for the year. So those are listed down here. We basically have 2 payrolls per month, except for in July, there are 3. And then in December, we will have 3 more. Oh, whoops, sorry about that. As you can see, when COVID hit and we started, again, with our wage freezes, our furloughs, our hiring freeze, you can see that payroll did definitely start trending downwards over those few months. Then as things started to pick up and we moved to, phase 3 and 4, and we expanded our offerings, you can see that payroll did progressively increase. And now that our summer activities are coming to a close and we're into our fall activities, we do expect these numbers to come back down again. And so that is all I have for this slideshow, unless anyone has any questions. And Cal, I'm going to guess, and I should probably just go with it, wanting to know where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. So we'll go back. Obviously, we shut down in March, and we regrouped and we waited to move into a phase where we could start opening things back up again. Following all of the rules and regulations that are out there. And so at that time, we did do, as you could see, a lot of adjustments with the payroll. We had to also, of course, cancel many of our recreational programs and activities as times move on and we are able to do more things. Obviously, golf has been wonderful, the Lakeshore, Deer Creek. And so, we did see that we are starting to exceed what our projections were, our worst case projections. And as we look to the future, we are working on our budget right now for 2021. We are budgeting based on phase 4 expectations. So if we do go into phase 5 next year, that would just be, added bonus for us. And of course, we would have to amend our budget. But right now, things seem to be going in the right direction. But I did actually just hear this morning that things in Europe are maybe not looking too good. But here for now, I think we're looking good and we're staying the course, and hopefully, things will hold out for the rest of the year. And that's what I have for you. So any questions on that?
Commissioner Bernstein.
No, I have no questions. Just I actually do have one question. So would be accurate to say that the financial condition of the district is stable and solid, and as we hope for a transition from stage 4 to stage 5?
Yes, I think we are in good shape. And one of the things, I use, of course, is looking at our cash flow. We want to make sure that we are able to pay all of our debt certificates, the principal and interest payments that come due in December. That is a huge item to beware of. And, our reserves right now, and we did discuss this a little bit more in finance too, they're very healthy. We are at, almost a 50% reserve. What we're expecting at the end of December, of course, that's provided that we, don't fall back in phases, and that we, are maintaining what we're doing right now.
Again, I really appreciate this format. It's been very helpful and insightful. It's easy to understand, and And, we'll continue to monitor this, and we can assure the community that we are monitoring this, we're watching it, and we want to make sure that regardless, we have contingencies regardless of what happens with COVID as we move forward. And Terry was at the finance committee. We spent a lot of time working on these on this information. So I think as board members, we can feel confident that our staff has a handle and their arms around this situation. So I think let's keep it up, and we'll see in a month with the next month's worth of information.
Very good. Thank
Okay.
you.
Once again, with, Cal stole my thunder, but I did want to compliment you, Mary, because this isn't a natural thing for me to understand, but you've made it easy. And I think just the honing and being concise and succinct and the creating of these very easy to understand graphics has made it just a very easy for me and for regular people that follow the board to consume. So thank you to you and your staff for working hard. And sometimes we push you hard and demand things that maybe you don't have at the touch of your fingertips, but you make it happen. So I also want to compliment Brian Romes and his planning, because he's taken us through a very unforeseen situation. And I think he's made bold moves and has been proactive in his management. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to our fall winter finance schedule. And let me pull that up. Okay, can everyone see the fall winter finance schedule?
Looks like it got wet.
Yeah. When we put this together, it was during the week of constant rain. So yes, there you go. It does look a little wet. All right, moving along, and I don't think there's rain in the forecast till Sunday. So, wait, it's not changing. Okay, there we go. All right, we are going to start with our schedule summary for this fall into winter, and we're going to start by looking at 2020. So you're going to see that we have a lot of changes in our calendar this year versus last year. The first thing
I don't think it changed, Marilyn, the slide. Sorry.
Oh, it didn't change on your side? No.
I just realized I was muted before too, but
Oh.
yeah, after that.
Did it change now?
Yes.
It did. Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's try this again. So we have in front of us our a summary schedule for 2020 versus what took place in 2019. And you're going to see there are a lot of differences between the 2 years. So for fall winter, the first big deadline we have coming up is our CARES Act filing, which is due October 15th. This is our filing that we will be making with Lake County. We know that we have set aside for us roughly $106,000. And of course, we have to provide them with a lot of documentation showing materials and supplies expenditures we incurred as a result of COVID-19, as well as various types of labor hours, payroll. And so while the whole district really worked hard at gathering data for all of their expenses and also tracking how they were spending their time these days, this is now turned over to the finance department and HR to summarize this and fill out a very lengthy report so that we can ensure that we do receive the money. The good news here, I was on a call this morning, they say it only takes about 2 weeks to turn it around and issue that money to the Park District. So we are hopeful to have that late October, early November. And as you can see, that certainly is activity that did not happen in 2019, nor I believe ever before. So this will be a first for us. Also on our 2020 calendar is the HP Fieldhouse Pro Forma and the Recreation Center of Highland Park Business Plan. We hope to have that work done by December 8th. Then shortly thereafter, we will be submitting our FEMA filing. And our FEMA filing really picks up where the CARES Act filing leaves off. Since we can only request our $106,000 for the CARES Act filing, any other expenses, materials and supplies, and appropriate payroll, although it is much less what you can apply for from FEMA, that will take place. It's due December 21st. And again, this is an all-out effort by everyone in the district, and then the data gets compiled by the finance and HR departments for that final submission. And of course, this is another activity that did not take place in 2019. Then you'll see the budget presentation, which of course we do each and every year. You can see that last year in November, the budget goes before the Finance Committee, and then it goes before the workshop in November. This year, we are planning on doing that in January. And then last year, you can see we had the budget approved at the December board meeting, and this year we are planning to do that at the February board meeting. And how we got here with these dates, a couple of paths really, but most importantly, because of the pandemic right now, it is tough to know what is going to happen next year. It's even tough to know what's going to happen through the end of this year. And so legal counsel, as well as our auditors, and then we also did check with several of the park districts around us to see what they're all doing, and everyone is recommending, and the districts around us are all filing their budgets this year as late as possible. The actual final drop dead date for filing with the county is actually March 31st. So, you know, we're shooting for a month before that. But as we said, we are presently budgeting for a phase 4 next year. And, you know, hopefully nothing drastic is going to happen between now and when this is due. But this just gives us, you know, the most time to make sure that our budget makes sense given you know, what's going on in the world at the time we file it. So that's where we are with the budget. On this schedule, you do not see the tax levy. That will remain exactly the same. That is still due the last Tuesday in December. And so we are going to start working on that in October, and we will be doing our first go around with the tax levy at the end of October with the Finance Committee. One other thing that you don't see on here, we had previously discussed amending the budget for 2020. Initially, we were going to amend it because of the way the capital payment for the NSSRA building was shown in the original filed budget. It was shown in a different fund. When we sat down to amend the budget at the beginning of September, I did circle back with legal counsel. And at that point, it was kind of rethought and we were more in the details. And at that point, legal counsel advised that we actually did not that we did not have to amend the budget. And so then our conversation continued on regarding all of the issues with our budget because obviously we are far more than 10% off all over the place with revenues and expenditures. And legal counsel said legally though, not an issue, but we should circle back to our accountants. And so we did. I reached out to Dan Berg, our partner over at Stickage, and he you know, understood of course the situation we're in as well as so many others and said that really the way they're telling everyone to handle it is by putting verbiage into the MD&A at the front of the CAFR. And he also said he wouldn't be surprised if some sort of standard verbiage may actually be issued for everybody to just use talking about the pandemic. He also said that even though our numbers, you know, of course, are significantly different from the original budget, that will not harm us as far as our filing for our GFOA Certificate of Excellence. And so, you know, that sounded pretty good that we do not need to amend the budget. Just as one final step, we did check with park districts, surrounding park districts here. None of them are amending their budgets either, and everyone is planning on doing the same and putting a special paragraph in their MD&A discussion at the front of their CAFR. And so, therefore, we will not be amending the budget, and it is not on our schedule for 2020. Now we're going to go to our next slide, and this is a draft with actual dates of just really summarizing everything I just told you. You can see the shaded grays are all the upcoming finance committees for the rest of the year. We've already sent out the invites for the 2 October meetings. And you can see in October, we will start working on the Truth in Taxation resolution. You can see our CARES Act deadline. You can see our FEMA deadline. We'll be filing the levy with the county December 28th. And then you see everything related to the budget is going to happen in 2021. And that's all I have for you on that. And does anyone have any questions?
Mary Lynn, when you mentioned the word accountants, you're talking about what do you call them? I'm having a senior moment.
Auditors?
The auditors, thank you. Yeah, the auditors, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
And I'm sure we have a clean opinion from them. And, of course, they help us do the CAFR that then gets presented for the GFOA award. So we want to make sure that that would not be jeopardized at all. And they are fine with the approach we're going to take.
And so it's the opinion that we're hearing from our auditors and from our legal counsel that by not doing an amendment to the current budget of 2020, it will not impact both our debt rating.
Right. And we didn't talk debt. You mean like our AAA bond rating?
Exactly. That's what I meant to say. I'm having a rough time right now.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That was not discussed specifically, but there's no doubt in my mind that if anyone thought that was going to be an issue, that would have been discussed. I mean, I can always circle back in, but
Yeah, just verify that it won't impact the bond rating.
okay. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Terry?
I'm good.
All right, Mary Lynn, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, and now all we have left is our regular treasurer's report going over our fund balances, actual versus the original budget. In general corporate right now, we are showing a favorable variance from budget due to reduced payroll, reduced expenses due to the closing of the park district, and timing differences with the health insurance. And we are also showing a difference in miscellaneous income because of the 2 grants receivable that we have on the books. In special recreation, our actual tax receipts are trending favorably due to timing difference. The variance should diminish over the next month or 2. And contractual services payment for the NSSRA building were budgeted for June, but we now know that we will not be paying that until December. In recreation, we're showing an unfavorable variance from budget due to closure and reduced activities related to COVID-19. In the debt service fund, our actual tax receipts are trending favorably due to timing differences, and the variances should diminish by year end. Any favorable variance in debt service will be used in December when making our debt certificate payments. And then finally, with capital projects, we are significantly under budget as projects have been delayed or eliminated due to COVID-19. Did anyone have any questions on that?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Okay, then I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're at unfinished business. We're removing Rosewood Beach project update from tonight's discussion, and we'll review it at the October 13th workshop meeting, which takes us to B, approval of the construction bid for the preserve Highland Park. Dan Voss and Rebecca Grill to present.
Thank you for unmuting me. Okay, now I'm going to hope that you all can see my screen and now that you can hear me. Thank you very much. We're pleased to present our review of our construction bids that we received on September 10th for the preserve. We have we received 3 bids from contractors. We actually had a pre-bid meeting where 9 vendors attended, and then we received 3 sealed bids on September 10th. Here's a summary of the bids that we received, with Team Real appearing to be the lowest bidder for us. Subsequently, we worked with Team Real to review their bid, and we were able to negotiate their base price and some of their alternates down to the levels that you see below. So their base bid came in at $1,172,690. We had some alternates that we created in order to be able to address some additional path work that we wanted to do in case we had a favorable bid result. So that's basically alternates A3 through A8. And there are a couple of alternates, A1 and A2, that were related to the recreational trail program grant. And as I'll show you in a minute, we are not going to accept those items because we haven't received the grant money yet. And so we're going to put that down the road. Alternate 9, alternate 10, those are linear foot cost for additional path work so that as we move forward, we have locked in rates at which we can do whatever additional path work that we deem is necessary and valuable for the project. So how does this fit into our overall budget? I'm going to walk you through the way we built up the number that we have to spend for construction at this point in time. That's the $1,130,537. That begins with our original conversion budget of $1,364,000. That's the number that we agreed upon so many years ago. In addition to that is the Skokie River Woods budget, which is currently in capital at $224,000, and our asphalt budget designated for the community park of $250,000. We also have a waste and recycling containers at $13,000. Those are part of the grant funding. And then we take the money that we have spent so far, $405,000. That's largely for planning for the project. Also, of course, for the seed installation and maintenance to date. We have one Skokie River Woods budget expense that we're taking in 2020 is $16,000. And then we deduct the $300,000, which is the 3 years worth of maintenance to get the park established. So that is where we come up with our budget of $1,130,000. And you will see here that we apply that against the base bid and the alternates that we're selecting. So the construction budget of 1.1, we have a base bid net of those exclusions I mentioned of 1.1, $1,131,190. So as you can see, we're pretty on track being in budget with our overall expense. We had planned to accept alternates for those paths that I mentioned to you if we did have funds available. So that represents $71,750. We have our construction phase services contract, the expense for the recycling containers, and then we apply our OSLED grant funds and our IEPA grant funds, and we come down to a balance remaining of $416,000. We expect some additional costs. Obviously, we will have the award perhaps of the recreational trails program, so there'll be expenses associated with that. We have to do some tree fencing that is not included in the above. And then also, yeah, that's it. So we anticipate out of the $400,000 having approximately $75,000 that we have already set aside that are things that we know we're going to encounter. Do you have any questions at this point?
I have two. And my sound is going in and out, so if I miss this, I apologize, Rebecca.
Mhm.
Do any of these numbers on the screen right now include redoing the existing cart paths?
Yeah, of course, there are monies in the initial base bid for that. But then we also took our alternates A3 through A8, and those are additional path areas that we were hoping that we'd be able to have enough funds to accomplish. And then, as I mentioned before, if we go back to, excuse me, if we go back to the alternate 9 and 10. Those are locked in per linear foot cost for additional path work. So as we decide that we want to do that additional work, as we see how things are shaping up, we have locked in those costs per
Okay.
linear foot.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah. Let's see.
All right, let's keep going.
I think that is the summary of the bid. We are recommending that the board approve a total recommended construction bid of $1,204,290. That is the base bid less the exclusions plus the additions that we requested of the company. Team Real, we investigated their references and they all came back positive. They are a family-owned business that specializes in work with municipalities and school districts. And they have a number of subs, one of which is McGinty Brothers, which is an ecological restoration firm that we've worked with previously. So we are asking the board to approve their bid proposal in the amount of $1,204,290.
Rebecca, go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, I just a quick one. I'm looking at this timeline right here through December of 2021. I think I asked this the last time we were together. I'm standing in the middle of the preservation and the preserve. And what am I seeing? How are we
Sure.
to the way there?
Yeah, so in addition to the plantings and the natural areas that have already been establishing, there are going to be a number of specialized gardens. There's going to be, those will be planted out. You'll be seeing pathwork that's been redone. You will be seeing 2 overlooks, one at the North Pond, one at the Gateway, in addition to the Gateway path itself being built. The connector trail that leads from the Gateway path to across the bridge to the country club, to the preserve will be completed. So we are hoping that we are able to complete the work and be substantially complete in December 2021. I should have mentioned that there is also the shoreline project for the IEPA. We'll be meeting with the contractor if this is approved on October 2nd for a pre-construction meeting. We will also be talking to them in the meantime. Their first order of business is to provide us with a schedule and also a schedule of submittals. So they need to be sitting down and thinking through their means and methods, because it's up to them to determine that with our input to drive the schedule of the order of the work that they want to do.
Okay, can we just say, I know you started off with kind of a review of what, you talked about gardens and plantings and things like that. So now take me back, because the most questions I get about this is when is it going to be
Can
done?
I,
Oh, right?
So I'm
sorry.
anticipating substantial completion in December of 2021.
I know, all right. I know, I thought Brian was cutting in. No, my question was going to be, now it's June of 2021. What the main part of the, where the trails are, the kind of the center of the old golf course, what are we looking at there? What am I seeing then in terms of the parks and gardens?
I would anticipate that the shoreline work would largely have been done, that there would be seeding, establishing, and plants being planted at that point. I think in June of 2021, we would have potentially quite a bit of the infrastructure done, but we would need to be doing planting work. So I am guessing that we would be continuing planting into fall.
My final question, thank you. My final question has to do with the picture I'm looking at. Now, I understand that it's just a, you know, a photo, you know, mocked up, but is that what we're talking about when we're talking about the overlook into the Skokie River Woods? Is that kind of what we're looking at?
Yeah, that is a rendering representing the overlook for the Skokie River Woods property.
Okay, and so
It
that's,
really is representing, what it's representing is that the overlook goes out over the slope that's there. It actually has a turn in it so that people can walk out and turn and have a view of this natural area that you're seeing in the other photo. But that's pretty stylized, so.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
This is hi. I just have a couple questions. And Rebecca, I think this is wonderful. I think you're doing a tremendous job. And really, my question is for either Brian or Liz, because it sounds like you already answered my question about substantial completion. It sounds like it's going to be December 2021. How are we rolling this park out? What is the marketing going to be like? What is I assume we'll do a grand opening. So how do we intend on marketing this plant, this beautiful new nature preserve?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Liz could probably, go ahead, Liz. You want to go ahead and give an update?
Yeah, Rebecca and I just had a conversation, I believe it was yesterday, regarding messaging. So once this bid is approved, then we can start messaging, what the progress will be on the project. And there will be a grand opening, and that is something that we also discussed for the budget for next year. So we're, going to be able to do a rollout plan very similar to what we did for Sunset Valley, where we do continual messaging to the community on how the project's progressing, what things they can see, what changes are taking place, what elements are being built, and what's being completed. So
Okay, great. Love to hear that.
Absolutely.
Move for approval.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, now.
Now we do.
All right, my audio is going in and out.
Well, let's make it easy
All right.
for you. I assume we have to prove something, correct?
Is there a motion to approve the construction bid for the Preserve of Highland Park?
Move for approval.
I'll second.
Second. Roxanne, please call the roll.
Commissioner Bernstein,
Aye.
Commissioner Grossberg,
Yes.
Vice President Kaplan.
Yes, motion carries. New business, Parks Foundation, Commissioner Grossberg to present.
I'll be brief. I just have some notes here on my phone. So the big thing that's going on, other than there's governmental things that they're working out that they're doing a really great job with, is the two big fundraising efforts that they are launching. And so I was talking with Liz a little bit before the meeting, but we have our Bike the Parks, which was just a great idea brought up by one of our board members. We already have, Liz, what was the latest enrollment in that?
It's 234.
So 234 people so far are joining us on the 25th through the 27th this weekend. They're going to be touring the different parks, and there will be chances to take some photos and things like that. We'll have some signage up there, and it's been great. We have some sponsors, and we have some people that have been, so far we have a sponsorship of a total of $2,600, unless that's been updated since last week. We also have some gift certificates and things like that. So this, as Liz was explaining to me before, is sort of our launch pad into the large appeals, Friends of the Park annual appeal. And so we're hoping to pick up some more donor in our donor database based on the people that are registering for this Bikes in the Park. We hope to get more opportunities to do so. We hope that you will all register. It's a free event. There is an opportunity to give a donation for the Bike to the Parks. The annual appeal, it's right on the website there. I think, I'm not sure, Liz, if they have already, every time I've gone on the website, I haven't gotten the pop-up for it. So I don't know if it's there, if it's working yet.
It will actually, the annual appeal will launch the first week in October.
Okay, great. We have different incentives for people starting at $50 and going up to $1,000. And we're hoping, from what I understand, there are other park districts that make in the millions of dollars on their appeals. We, of course, have more humble expectations in the beginning, but we are hoping that this turns into something great in order to support. So anything you all can do to pull your circle of influence into our Bike the Parks and coming up, the Friends of the Park annual appeal would be greatly appreciated.
All right, thank you. Director's report. Summer recreation usage report. Instead of Kathy Fiore, we have Director Malzewski.
All right, good evening. Let me share
So
my-
sorry to disappoint. Kathy
know.
Fiore is not with us tonight. She's our
know.
summer camp report, but this is full summer usage.
All right, if you bear with me for 1 second, is everybody able to see my screen?
Yes.
All right, well, good evening once again. Tonight's brief report is going to essentially be the culmination of the many reports I've provided and we as staff have provided over the course of the summer, outlining some of the financial impact and successes due to our recreation and facility team's efforts. If I had to choose one quote that basically outlines each of our summers, it would be Claire Cook's, if plan A doesn't work, the alphabet has 25 more letters. And there's an extension of that the Japanese language has 204 more, which I chose to leave out, but words certainly would not do service. The amount of planning and replanning and replanning and replanning again that went into all of our programming efforts throughout the course of the summer, and certainly is a testament to our staff's flexibility, versatility, and creativity. If I may remind the board, on May 5th, Governor Pritzker released his Restore Illinois plan, phase 3, and began, as I said, May 5th, went through June 25th. Some of the parameters which staff had to operate under were gatherings of 10 or fewer. Of course, masks were required for various activities. Social distancing was always to be adhered to. There was extensive cleaning measures. And then furthermore, specific guidelines based on the activity being conducted. Moving into phase 4, on June 26th, gatherings were now allowed of 50 or fewer, with some of the same parameters being masks, social distancing, cleaning measures, and activity-specific guidelines. So here we have outlined our summer camp financials, if you will. I do need to remind the board that this is not necessarily apples to apples when comparing 2019 to 2020. Many of the registrations, if not all of the registrations reflected in 2020, are not unique users. They are registrations. So in traditional years, if you look at the bottom here, Camp Hometown in 2019, those were likely to be unique individual users. And is also the case in Camp Hometown. We had 40 unique individual users, but as you start to move up the chart, our tennis specialty camp, mini camps, etc., are not unique individuals. Those are more registrations. So just a few highlights. Athletics, as you may see here, was very successful running their weekly individualized camps. We called them mini camps throughout the course of the summer. Heller was also able to run weekly options parallel to also having involvement in the Camp Hometown. And of course, tennis, as we've heard many times throughout the course of the summer, was very sought after by residents and registrants. Staff had to work diligently to clear wait lists to ensure all that wanted to participate were able to. And then lastly, as I referred to earlier, Camp Hometown, as the board may recall, was marketed and structured for essential need throughout the course of the summer. As planning took place for our summer camp efforts, we really were operating in the unknown, and staff felt best to just really work a plan, develop camp, and cater to those families with an essential need for the course of 6 weeks. So if you look overall at our 2019 gross revenues from a summer camp perspective, we had about $1.6 million or thereabout in gross revenue. And in 2020, as it related specifically to summer camp, we were at about 320,000 for about a 19% revenue capture from 2019 or the year before. So believe it or not, staff is already in the planning phases of Camp 2021. We've learned a lot. There were many things that reared their head to staff as camp commenced throughout the course of the summer, and we're adjusting based on what we now know to be true. So for 2021 camp planning, as it states today, we are still planning for phase 4 for summer of 2021 with adjustments to be made should we move into phase 5. Camp Hometown and the branding of Camp Hometown will continue. If you recall, I did state earlier that Camp Hometown in 2020 was 6 weeks. We are planning for a full 7-week session to begin June 21st and ending on August 6th. We are going to have slightly reduced hours compared to 2020, but we're going to begin camp at 9 o'clock and end at 3:30. We are planning for our themed camps to have to be reintroduced to the community. I've referred to them among staff as the step brother or step sister of some of our favorite camps, whether it be spotlighters, trekkers, crew, what have you. There will be themes throughout the course of the summer that our residents and participants can choose from. Traditionally, we've had before and after camp at a centralized location here at Westridge. The plan as it states today is we will only offer after camp at each location in order to mitigate the spread of COVID-19 by keeping groups and camps amongst themselves, not allowing camps to intermingle. We are planning to provide a list of approved field trip locations that any of our camps for Camp Hometown can utilize outside of Highland Park. That will be a very welcome change for residents and participants alike. We are also planning to reintroduce swim lessons for our kindergartner through second graders, as well as planning for the opening of Hidden Creek Aqua Park in some capacity. We are still planning on offering weekly options for some specialized areas, tennis, athletics, come to mind, and that's an adjustment based on the overall success we saw here in 2020. As it stands today, we are also planning for registration to begin in January of 2021. This is a fluid date. We are certainly monitoring our local park district neighbors, as well as some of what we would consider to be our camp providing competitors, just to ensure that we are aligned with registration dates, so that way our residents and participants can make the most informed decision about their summer camp needs. Moving off of camp on the general programming, again, thinking back to that original quote, Plan A doesn't work. This is really evident in some of what our programming areas would have been. Athletics had to restructure leagues several times due to the necessary timing, and therefore pricing was impacted. So if you look at a program area like athletics, you may see, well, we had 435 registrations in 2019, and we had 321 in 2020, but you saw a 50% reduction in revenue with not a 50% reduction in participation. that's due to the cost to participate in various activities was a lot less due to the timing of which we were able to get our programs and our leagues off the ground. Centennial was closed for ice activity due to the compressor project that was finished on September 8th. So you saw a significant reduction in participation and revenue there. This 110 registrations and revenue tied to that was solely to gymnastics. Outdoor tennis was successful as ever. Programs and lessons were certainly on par with what we saw in 2019, which really was exciting to see and kept the Deer Creek staff extremely busy. Recreation was able to offer a summer park school, as well as the ever so popular Safety Village. And there was significant wait lists for Safety Village throughout the course of the summer. And we were able to, as best as possible, get as many kids and families engaged in their, up and coming safety needs. So overall here, you can see once again, programming areas were able to bounce back much better than camp, largely due to the timing and understanding of the parameters which we had to work with and offer. So we were able to capture about a 70% revenue year to date. So real brief, as I said, but in 2021, we're going to continue to plan for phase 4 as we know it today. Staff has been diligent in planning and putting together programs virtually to ensure that should we go backwards in phases, we have options amongst our residents to continue to be engaged. We are continuing to plan as many programs outside as possible. I think not particular to our area, but certainly highlighted by our area. Our residents and the area's residents certainly have a desire to stay outside as long as possible, and that's evident just by their participation trends. And so the activities right now that are able to be offered outdoors are really well attended. And as we start to transition inside, the participation and registration rate is, well, it's not concerning yet. It's certainly less than those offerings that we have outside. One of the planning efforts the majority of our recreation staff has implemented is what we're calling Create a Class. As we know, micro schooling, podding, what have you, has become more and more popular as the days go by. And so we're offering families the opportunity to come to us with a group of kids that they're comfortable with. They understand their personal behaviors as it relates to COVID-19 mitigation. And so, we're asking families to come to us, with a group of 4 or 6 kids and asking them to provide us just a general area of interest, and we'll create a program specifically for those kids, those family members that are comfortable being together day in or day out or week in or week out. We've also transitioned as best as possible to utilize full-time staff to teach, to coach, to do whatever it takes to fulfill the recreational needs of our community. And then we've asked staff to be diligent in repurposing previously purchased supplies for programs that earlier in the year may not have been able to be conducted due to the pandemic, and being creative and responsible with our expenses, as you saw during Director Peters' presentation. So with that being said, are there any questions of the board based on what I had to offer?
I don't have a question. I just want to commend you and all the staff for all the work done the last 6 months. We've come through this with what seems to be flying colors, and it's great to hear.
Yeah, I would just want to echo that. I think that the flexibility, the out of the box thinking is very impressive, and I know it's going to be a challenge moving forward with the fall and the winter, depending on what stage we are and what happens with COVID. But I'm confident that whatever hand is dealt to us, that our staff will come up with some way to engage the community in the Park District's mission. So thank you very much for all your hard work.
Okay, that being said, we've come to our favorite part. Do you guys want to go into closed?
I just have couple more things, Brian, if I can, real quick.
Sure,
on the
of
veterans
course.
report.
You just weren't on my cheat sheet.
No, that's okay. I'm sorry. I just want to make a few comments also mentioned in our director's report real quick. The first one, I just want to comment on Sunset Valley Golf Club. I'm sure you can see the numbers in there, and Sunset, what you don't see are pictures of how amazing the course is looking right now. Obviously, the good weather has helped out, but we are having a record year at Sunset Valley Golf Club. Just to point out, our resident use for August has almost doubled, and things are going very well, and we're serving a much needed service right now to the community through the golf course. And coming up on October 3rd through October 4th, Sunset Valley is hosting the Illinois Junior Golf Association tournament. So we are excited about that. We've also hosted a variety of other tournaments this summer, including the Corn Ferry Tour PGA qualifying tournament, and then also our North Shore Am tournament. So that's been exciting. In addition to that, I just want to point out some events that we have coming up. Even though we cannot gather in big crowds, staff is still thinking very creatively on how to provide enriching events for the community. Halloween seems to be a very popular favorite with the Highland Park community. So we have numerous events. The Highland Park Hauntings, unfortunately, this event is sold out, but that is on Friday, October 23rd. And that event, we even opened up additional spots, and that sold out very quickly as well. But that event does take place in the driveway from Debbie Gottlieb Beitler Dog Park through Deer Creek Racquet Club, where they will see many haunting scenes and zombies and things of that nature through the park and through the woods. So we're excited about that. But we have plenty of other events. We have some drive-in movies coming up. We have one that's sold out, but on October 15th, we added a movie at the Recreation Center, Hocus Pocus. So you can still register for that online. You can go over to the Highland Park Golf Learning Center. Our River's Edge Mini Golf will have Halloween Mini Golf, and that'll be October 22nd through the 25th. And then we have a reverse trick-or-treating where we come to you with the treats. And you also get to take a picture with the ever so famous Mike and Sully from Monsters, Inc. So registration for that is online. And then we have a variety of costume contests that everybody in the community can submit for, including, of course, best costume, best couples costume, family costume, and a variety of others. So we're excited about that. And that is all that I have for the report.
Okay. Anything else, Commissioner Bernstein? Commissioner Grossberg?
I'm always watching you, Wasowski.
That's good. That's good.
Great.
I have
Motion
no
to
idea what
ad-
you're talking about. Move to adjourn.
How about Terry, second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you, boys.
Nice
All
job,
right,
Brian.